If you don't know these four numbers inside your business, you are burning cash. So today, I'm going to help you simplify your paid advertisements. All you need are these four KPIs inside of your ad account, and it tells the entire story of what's going on with your ad manager, where your success is, and what things you need to focus on to improve your cost per lead. So in this video, I'm going to break down what four KPIs they are, which you can see above, what each metric means, how to actually track each KPI, how to optimize to increase or decrease or improve each metric, and then case studies and screenshots from our actual clients. What is up? My name is Tristan McGowan. I'm the founder and CEO of Fifth Element Media. We are a franchise marketing company. Super quick background. I started this when I was 18 years old. I worked on Fifth Element Media all throughout college until I finished my junior year. About 10 days before my senior year of college, I decided to drop out. You can actually see the really embarrassing photo of me the exact moment I got an email saying, hey, we're about to send a whole bunch of business your way from one of my favorite franchisees. And I decided to go all in. Since then, I've built a staff of 10 amazing people. We've worked with multiple franchise brands, well over 100 franchisees across the country, and we are a very hungry and growing franchise marketing company. We work with brands like Image Studios Salon Suites, Sequel Brands, Body 20, Scramblers Golf Club, iFlex, and more. The results that we get are results like this: 70 qualified leads with a $19 cost per lead for a local Body 20 franchisee out in Houston, 94 meta leads with a $16 cost per lead in the past 30 days for another Body 20 franchisee out in Georgia, 51 local beauty, health, and wellness professionals out in Boca Raton, Florida, with a $16.59 cost per lead in the last 30 days, and 46 leads, which are another 46 beauty, health, and wellness professionals with a $26 cost per lead out in Houston. And one of my favorites, 76 franchise leads for Scramblers Golf Club. These are people actually interested in purchasing a Scramblers franchise with a $23 cost per lead in the last 30 days. And they're actually converting, and people are beginning to purchase franchises from them, which is incredibly exciting. If you are a growing, established, brand new franchise brand looking for a new franchise marketing partner, whether it's to help your franchisees or help you as the franchisor grow the brand, shoot me an email, click the link below. I'd be more than happy to jump on a discovery call and help you out. All right, let's get into it. So our four metrics: click-through rate, cost per click, conversion rate, and cost per lead. What do they actually mean? So let's start with click-through rate. Click-through rate is the percentage of people who click on your ad after seeing the ad. Simple math: impressions divided by clicks. Impressions are views. You can almost think of it as a view on a YouTube video. So if an ad got 100 impressions, 100 views, which, keep in mind, those could have came from a smaller group of people. You could have 10 people that see your ad but got 100 impressions because each person saw it about 10 times. 100 impressions divided by one click is a 1% click-through rate. What good looks like on meta advertisements is generally between 1 or 2%. In shorter windows of time, you generally can see a little bit of a higher click-through rate. Over a long period of time, 1 to 2% seems very consistent. If it's less than 1%, the ad might still be successful, but you might be missing out on opportunities. Cost per click, CPC. So the definition of cost per click is pretty straightforward: how much you pay on average for every click that you get. So if you spent $100 on ads this week and you got 100 clicks, your cost per click would be $1. Kind of similar to the click-through rate, what good looks like on Meta is about a $1 to $2 cost per click. This is generally for the franchise brands that we're working with and the averages that we see. So conversion rate, CVR. Most people just call it conversion rate. I never really hear it be called CVR. I've also heard people call it click to lead ratio. Also, when people talk about conversion, sometimes they mean inside of their business. You need to make sure that you're clarifying this. In today's scenario, we're talking about the conversion rate of how many clicks actually turn into a lead. So this is really measuring the effectiveness and the efficiency of your landing page, your instant form. Wherever that lead is being routed to, that is what it's measuring. So it is the percentage of clicks that become leads. For example, in the past 7 days, if you got 10 leads from 100 clicks, you would have a 10% conversion rate. What good looks like, it's kind of all over the place, a little bit different between each industry. We notice it kind of fluctuates between markets, but generally, an average conversion rate is about 5%. 10% is really good. It also depends on if you're running an instant form or a landing page. I will talk about that more a little bit later in this video. Instant forms get a higher conversion rate, but sometimes lower quality leads, and landing pages tend to get a little bit less of a conversion rate, but higher quality leads. And then finally, the most straightforward, easiest one that everybody knows, cost per lead. This is the cost that you pay on average per lead. This is the amount you spent divided by how many leads you received. So for example, if you spent $100 this week and you got 10 leads, you'd have a $10 cost per lead or $10 CPL. So the first thing to know about these 4 metrics is that click-through rate, cost per click, and conversion rate are all levers that you can pull to help you get a better cost per lead, because that's the goal of all of this. We want to get a better cost per lead. We're not talking about quality of leads so much today. We'll make more videos about that in the future. But those are the 3 things that you are going to adjust to get you a better cost per lead. So you need to think of these metrics as a funnel. And don't get this confused. People use funnel, the term funnel, in all different kind of applications. For today, let's think of it as a funnel, and each thing stacks on top of the next thing. So if something breaks higher in the funnel, it's going to affect all of the metrics below it. So going top down through the funnel, at the top, we would have your click-through rate. Next, we would have your cost per click. Next, we would have your conversion rate. And at the very bottom, we would have the final result, which is your cost per lead. If another analogy that I give people often, which isn't here on the screen, is you need to think of the metrics of impressions, clicks, and then leads as a funnel. And then in between your click and your lead, you have that conversion rate. In between your impressions and your clicks, you have that click-through rate. And then I guess even higher than that, you'd have your amount spent divided by your clicks be your cost per click. That's a little confusing. This is easier to understand today. So at the top, we have that click-through rate. A low click-through rate means fewer people are clicking on your ads, which results in fewer visitors to your landing page and ultimately fewer opportunities to generate leads. So if you have a low click-through rate, it's because of the audience of people that are seeing your ads. Less and less of those people are clicking on it. Generally, assuming you have really good creatives running or decent creatives running that have been tested and you know they're positive, your level of your amount of impressions don't really fluctuate that much. Unless you fatigue or you burn out, you're always going to have a pretty steady cost per impression, which we'll talk about next. So if your click-through rates are going down or they're fluctuating, it's because the audience is kind of losing interest in your offer or in your creative. So if you're losing those click-through rate, it's decreasing because you want it as high as possible. You're losing opportunities. You're not even giving more people the chance to see your landing page and convert on your offer. So at the top, we want to get as high as a click-through rate as possible. The next thing is your cost per click. A high cost per click means it costs you a lot to get each visitor. So a high CPC means each visitor costs more, often due to poor targeting or underperforming creatives. This leads to fewer users reaching your landing page or your Instaform and reduced opportunities to convert. So click-through rate and cost per click are pretty sticky. They are independent of each other. Technically, you could have a decent click-through rate and a really high cost per click, which I'll talk about how that could happen next. But they tend to move and fluctuate. If you have too high of a cost per click, you need to increase your click-through rate by making better creatives. And in result, your cost per click should actually go down. So someone has to see your ad, top of the funnel, it's an impression, before they can even click on your ad. Once they've clicked on it, they've made it through these 2 top sections, click-through rate and cost per click. Now they have the opportunity to convert. So a low conversion rate means you're wasting valuable clicks due to a poorly optimized landing page or instant form, resulting in fewer leads and a higher cost per lead. Oftentimes, our ad accounts or clients that come to us that are struggling, that are not being successful, assuming it's a lead flow or lead volume problem, it has to do with their conversion rate being too low. Their click-through rates and their cost per clicks are usually actually pretty decent and pretty good. And we spend a lot of our time focusing on the conversion rate, and I'll show you how we do that later, and optimizing that conversion rate. A lot of it boils down to that conversion rate. But if you're not making quality creatives that get you a good CTR or cost per click, the opportunity won't even make it to the conversion rate. Finally, at the bottom of the funnel, we have your cost per lead. Your cost per lead is directly affected by your CTR, your cost per click, and your conversion rate. So if you need a better cost per lead, you need to focus on these three in that order. So a little bonus for you and a reminder, keep in mind, just because you have a high click-through rate doesn't mean you'll automatically get a low cost per click. I kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. You could have a great click-through rate and your cost per click could still be high. And that's because it costs you a lot to get those impressions in the first place. So your amount spent is a little bit higher, or it's a lot higher in general, even though you're still getting a decent amount of clicks and a good click-through rate. And that's where a cost per click would go up. That's kind of a lot. You don't have to worry about it too much for today, but it is just some bonus information. And just because your cost per click is low doesn't mean you'll have a high conversion rate. You could be getting clicks all day long, but maybe they're not converting for two reasons. One, your landing page sucks, or two, you're targeting the wrong people. Your creative is optimized for the wrong side of your business or the wrong avatar. And just because your conversion rate is strong doesn't guarantee a low cost per lead. And that's kind of like we talked about earlier, where just because you have a good click-through rate doesn't mean your costs are great. You could have a 10% conversion rate, but if your clicks are so expensive to get in the first place, well, your leads are going to be expensive because you're spending a ton. So remember, all of these metrics kind of work together in a harmony. They're like one big symphony, but each one represents a different stage of the funnel and ultimately is going to dictate your results. So a little bit of a bonus. If you're seeing a great click-through rate, but your CPC is still high, check your CPM. So we're not going to talk about CPM too much today. I know I've already talked about it like 4 times, even though I've said that. Your CPM is your cost per 1,000 impressions. This is the ultimate, most surface level metric that you can track. It basically means how much does it cost you to get 1,000 views on that ad. If it costs you a lot to get 1,000 views, something's wrong. It should be relatively cheap, like $4 or $5, maybe $7, $8. If your CPM is like $20, $30, something's off. You shouldn't have to pay that much for views on your ad. Either your offer is just horrible, which I find hard to believe if you're advertising on behalf of someone else, like in franchising, or your creative is just very, very poor. So if everything else is kind of struggling, you definitely want to check on that CPM. It isn't one of the 4 main metrics that you need to track. It is very rare, I would say virtually extremely rare, that your 4 KPIs that we're talking about today are doing good and your CPM is high. It is just something you can kind of check on and help diagnose if you feel like your metrics aren't where they should be. The other thing that you can experience is ad fatigue, which is called frequency in the Meta Ad Manager. Frequency measures how many times one user or one account is seeing your ads in the given time period. So maybe we're looking at a 7-day time period and it says your frequency is 3.5. Right on the money, that's great. If your frequency is too high, like we're getting up to like 5 or 6, your user could actually get burnt out and they get fatigued. They don't want to see it anymore. And then if your frequency is way too low, if it's like 1, 1.2, they're not seeing your ad enough, and you should consider setting up a retargeting campaign, and we can talk about that in another video. So how do you lower your cost per lead? I've already talked about it. You're going to improve your click-through rate, your cost per click, and your conversion rate. So the good part, the meat and potatoes of the video, how do you actually improve that? To improve your cost per lead, the first thing we can do is focus on that click-through rate. So to improve your click-through rate, we have some options here. You don't always have to be running video ads in your campaigns. We are a huge proponent of it. We've found a lot of success with video ads in our meta lead generation ads. So your first option is to run video ads. You can convey a lot more information to a user in a video ad. At the same time, you can confuse them and say information you weren't supposed to, or knock it off track or anything like that. But assuming you are creating decent or good quality videos, you can get more important information to that user and you can hook them in, which leads me to the next point: improve your hook. People most of the time have actual pretty good quality like bodies inside of their video. So the actual middle section, the meat and potatoes of what your offer is and what you're trying to tell them, but their hook isn't very engaging. And I'll show you some examples of hooks that we use. The next thing that I don't hear too many people talk about, but we've noticed a lot of success with, is localizing your ad creative. So if you're a franchisee, 99% of the time, your business is going to be very localized. Maybe you're only serving to people in a 3 to 5 mile radius because you're a gym or a fitness concept or health and wellness. Or maybe you're a service-based franchise and you service people in a 15-mile circle. Whatever it may be, if you localize that ad creative, we've noticed it helps increase clicks, which actually increases your click-through rate and decreases your cost per click. So an example of this could be salon suites available in Temecula, California, where we're from, or in Sacramento, wherever your business is. The next thing is speak to your audience. So if you are making a video ad, speak to the audience. This doesn't mean you yourself has to be in the video. Obviously, that's the easiest way. That probably makes the most sense. If I'm in the video, I can talk directly to the audience. I can talk like them. But I have an example of an ad creative here I'm going to show you that isn't someone talking, that still speaks directly to the audience. The next thing is give the user a very clear call to action. If they're interested, you need to tell them exactly what to do. Like I said in the point before, this could be you literally in the video telling them what to do, or it could be something that pops up on the screen telling them what to do. It could be an audio or a graphic overlay. You need to tell the user exactly what to do when they're done watching your ad or once their interest has peaked. So that doesn't mean you need to put it all the way at the end of the video. Most people do. That's where they put their CTAs. It can pop up right at the beginning or in the middle. Just tell the user what to do. So I also have how to improve your cost per click in this section, because earlier I talked about how although these two KPIs are kind of independent of each other, it's a very sticky relationship. So to reduce your cost per click, the number one thing you can do is increase your click-through rate. Most of the time, if your cost per click is too high, it's probably because your click-through rate is too low. So to improve your cost per click, focus on everything I just talked to you about when increasing that click-through rate. The next thing you can do is, I wrote down tighten audience congruence. So that's fancy for talk to your avatar like your avatar. If you are marketing a salon suite to local beauty, health, and wellness professionals that are going to come in and lease this space from you, talk to them how they would talk. Use language that they would use. Give them the results or the things that they're looking for. You need to understand your avatar fully. And like I said before, I'm going to hammer it again. Give the user a clear call to action. Okay, so these are some ad creatives that we actually run for our clients. And I'm going to show you the ad managers so you can see the exact results. And I'm also going to break down exactly why they work. So the first one is an ad creative we are running for a salon suite in Austin, Texas.
Austin Barbers, this one is for you. At Image Studios Austin.
Right off the bat, we have our hook. We know exactly who we're trying to target. If you're a barber in Austin and you just heard this, you feel called out.
You get your own suite with everything set up. You have in-suite climate control, a built-in mini fridge, free laundry access when you need it, and utilities are all included. You keep your earnings, you set your rules, and you get to build something that is fully yours. Come see it in person.
Call to action's a little bit loose, but it's worked very well. The other thing to remember with that call to action is this ad or this creative is inside of the ad manager. So there's going to be a button. It's a little bit more clear, but we can see that click-through rate is decently strong. We would say that's good, 1.42%. That cost per click, pretty good, $1.26. We ran this ad for, I want to say about a month. We got 40 leads, a $21 cost per lead. And let me tell you, if you talk to that owner, he will tell you he got tons of barbers that came through from that ad. And I will show you the ad manager shortly after these next creatives. The next creative we're running is a great example of you don't have to be in the ad. It's actually really simple panning shots of a salon suite. And let's go through this. Right off the bat, that's the hook, and it's talking to the user. Premier Salon Suites now available in Boca Raton and East El Rey. Not only did it have the hook, it's talking directly to the user using language they understand, even though it sounds really simple. Salon Suites now available. It's also localized, just like the previous ad creative in Austin. We're talking directly to beauty professionals interested in salon suites in Boca Raton and East El Rey. And there's the call to action. Click learn more. It can be that simple. I think people overcomplicate how to run these paid advertisements. It literally says click learn more. So they click learn more and then they learn more. Very, very easy. This next one is an ad from a Body 20 location in New York, not New York, but Pittsford, New York. We can see a really high click-through rate, 4.25%, with a really low cost per click. And you can see that relationship between the results in both of these ad creatives. The click-through rate starts rising and that cost per click starts decreasing a ton.
I received more results in 20 minutes. I just completed the Body 20 workout for 20 minutes. And as someone who normally works out for a minimum of an hour, 3 times a week, strength training with a regular personal trainer, this is a completely different experience. I received more results in 20 minutes than I have in at least a minimum of 2 weeks. Now multiply that for somebody who goes to the gym, you're working out super hard for the last 6 to 9 months and you barely see any results. I've been working out here for 2 weeks. I feel muscles in my stomach I haven't felt before. I've had 3 C-sections. This is the way to go because you can't do this on your own. You can't build back those muscles on your own. This is the technology that's going to get you there. And I love it. And I feel like RoboCop or a Fortnite character.
So for some context, Body 20 is a fitness concept. They are a gym looking to gather members in a very, very localized area. So about 5 miles, depending on where the studio is situated. So we can see that this ad creative had the hook. Not only it was very convincing, a very, very convincing testimonial. Kind of missed the call to action a little bit, but I think the hook and the information that she provided throughout the ad creative was so convincing, and it spoke directly to the audience. One of the biggest demographics of people that come into Body 20, other than busy professionals, people that only have 20 minutes to come in and work out, are people like postpartum mothers. You could hear her talk about she went through 3 C-sections, which is brutal. It's really hard on your body. And this has been fantastic and life-changing for her. Talking directly to those women that have gone through a similar situation or have literally given birth and gone through C-sections and things like that. So really, really great, strong ad creative. Look how easy that was to shoot too. I'm sure it took some convincing of her in the studio, but it's literally just a phone video that captions were thrown over. So this next one is for Scramblers Golf. We could see a 5.5% click-through rate, which is astronomical. It's through the roof, crazy, and a really, really low cost per click. In the past 30 days, this brought in 36 leads with a $25 cost per lead. Like talked about earlier, these are actually leads who are interested in purchasing a franchise from Scramblers Golf.
As a franchisee, there are more revenue opportunities than just the initiation fee and the monthly membership fee. We don't want to nickel and dime.
So right off the bat, a great hook for someone interested in purchasing a franchise. He's talking about the revenue opportunities. If you understand the golf membership kind of franchise, you would think that most of the time you're just making money off those monthly memberships. He says a hot word, revenue. Anyone that's looking to buy a business is concerned about revenue. Speaking their language, using a hook, talking directly to them. I'm not going to let the rest of the ad creative play out. I might actually give this file in the description of this video so you guys can check it out. But it's a pretty long one. But for proof, let's jump in these ad managers real quick. So first we can see this Austin ad manager right here. You can see the exact ad that we were using was shut off because they no longer needed barbers. We can see that click-through rate, crazy conversion rate. I didn't even talk about that. $21 cost per lead, 40 leads. And then looking at Image Studios Boca Raton, we can see $20 cost per lead, 46 leads. Another crazy conversion rate. 1.8% click-through rate, $2 cost per click. Here's Scrambler's Golf. You can see how much he spent. We see that 5.5% click-through rate with a 50-cent cost per click, which is crazy, and those 36 leads. Not to mention, they all came through landing page that helped qualify them, which is amazing. We'll talk about conversion rates and landing pages in a second. And then we can see that Body 20 Studio, they only spent a little over $100. They had a 4% click-through rate, a under 80-cent cost per click, which is great, giving them that $11 cost per lead. Plenty of proof. I'm more than happy to share. So the next thing, how do I improve my cost per lead? The number one thing that you can focus on, if you had to pick out of all 4 of these metrics, would be your conversion rate. Like I said before, the number one thing we see that is not doing great is the conversion rate. When we take over ad accounts from people that have worked with previous vendors, or we're just doing our own maintenance on our accounts that we've had for a while, the number one thing that we see slip, just due to time and fatigue, or the thing that needs to be constantly optimized, is the conversion rate. You have to remember, you're going to have 2 kind of types of audiences when doing lead generation. Let's say your business sells baby bottles and baby clothes and things for infants. Well, babies grow up, so your audience is constantly changing. You're selling to new parents, maybe new mothers. Well, you're only a new mother for a very brief amount of time, which means you're constantly getting new people inside your audience, which means you kind of can find creatives, find landing pages and instant forms that work really well for a really long time because there's new people seeing a winning landing page. But if you are a local studio, a gym like this one, that's only really marketing to people in a 3 to 5 mile radius, there's only so many people in that area. And there's chances that they're clicking on your ad multiple times, reading your offer, and then clicking off and not converting as a lead. We see this happen often. So you have to constantly work on that conversion rate, constantly refreshing and split testing landing pages, instant forms, and things like that. But let's not dive into that too much. Let's talk about how to actually improve your conversion rate. How do you get more conversions? So make sure your headline is congruent with the ad. If you're promising something or offering something in your ad creative, you better make sure that your instant form or landing page says the exact thing that they just watched. If it doesn't match it, they're out of there. Just use one call to action. Keep it very simple. Above the fold. All above the fold means is that if they're on a phone or a computer, they could get all that information without scrolling. So you can see an example like this. It needs to be very, very quick. There can't be any kind of crazy navigation they have to make. Usually you're using bullet points or just a very brief kind of message like this one. It also helps if you're adding proof. On an instant form, you can't really add too much information, but on a landing page, you can do things like testimonials, screenshots, things like that. If your conversion rate's too low on a landing page and you just don't have time to split test, you don't have the budget to figure out how to get that conversion rate higher, usually the number one thing you can do is move over to an instant form, which is an in-app experience, which means when the user clicks on the ad, it keeps them inside of the app on Instagram or Facebook, opens up a form. It loads immediately because it's inside the app. It's very, very easy to convert people. Which is why some people argue you get a lower lower cost per lead, but you also are getting lower quality leads. The next thing, I talked about this in the ad creatives, localize the landing page. Localize it. Tell them what city you're in, what region you're in, what areas you're serving. And then the next thing, we actually help this we've seen this help increase conversion rates and give the sales team or whoever's closing that lead some more information, so that they're a little bit more confident going in to close that lead, which that is ask them one like medium to high intent qualifying question. Super simple. So here's an example of a crazy instant form converting 1 out of every 5 clicks, which is nuts, absolutely nuts. You can see we're looking at the last 30 days for this ad account. It's another Body 20 studio out in Brookhaven, Georgia. So super simple. You can see the structure of our form matching what we talked about. Everything's above the fold. It's kind of hard to get under the fold on a instant form. Super easy kind of message to understand here at the top. Electro muscle stimulation training gives you fast results in less time. Fill the form out below and we'll connect with you. So simple. We don't even have a crazy offer on that, but it matches exactly what they saw in the ad. They're going to get more information. Then it asks them that one kind of medium level intent question. We even have it as optional. What's your primary fitness goal? Are you trying to build strength? You want to build your endurance? Really easy. They just check one. Then it goes into asking them for information, and then they submit. There's a page between these two that you can't see with their privacy policy. They click submit. Very, very easy. Also localized. It literally says Brookhaven at the top of the screen. It couldn't be more obvious where the studio is that you're kind of inquiring about. And then for proof, here's a screenshot of the ad manager I literally took before I started recording this video. Right here, you can see that conversion rate in the last 30 days, along with how many leads came through. This next one is a salon suite in Boca Raton, Florida. I think I was picking on them earlier. We can see another crazy conversion rate from this instant form, which we expect. Right off the bat, very obvious. Move-in ready salon suites. You can see exactly what they are offering. They are offering salon suites that they are now leasing in Boca Raton and East El Rey. Very easy to understand. They get a little message here. Enjoy a private, fully customizable space with top-tier amenities, flexible scheduling, and a community of beauty professionals. Limited availability. Secure your suite today. We're just asking them to inquire. The next medium kind of level intent question. How long have you been a licensed beauty professional? They don't know that you have to be licensed to move in or be unlicensed or anything like that. We just want to know. It also kind of helps filter out potential unqualified leads that maybe they're brand new into the beauty, health, and wellness world. They're a brand new entrepreneur. Maybe they can't afford prices to lease one of these suites. And then like I talked about, it also helps that franchisee or whoever is doing the leasing for them get a little bit more information. So if it's someone that's only licensed 0 to 1 years, do they want to spend too much time on it? If it's not converting, maybe not. Whereas someone 5 or more years, they might be a better lead. Grabs their information, they submit, says thank you. Same thing, here's proof, almost a 20% conversion rate in the last 30 days, 51 leads. You can do the math on how much money they spent to help them get these leads to then close and fill their salon suite. Now, let's look at a landing page. I know this is what you've been waiting for. So landing pages, like I talked about, usually get a lower conversion rate. On average, we actually see these get around maybe like 5%, 4% conversion rates. And then we have those outliers like this one almost getting, I wouldn't say really an outlier, just a winning landing page is absolutely crushing it, almost 10%. So we almost have a 10% conversion rate with this custom built landing page for a Body 20 studio in Pembroke Pines, Florida. So I'll give you a quick run through of what that looks like. So simple, grabbing their information. That's a video that kind of talks to them about Body 20. There's music, there's a voiceover. Whoops, looks like it loaded a little bit slow right there. Talking about exactly who it's looking for. It's very, very localized. It literally says Pembroke Pines all over it at the very bottom. There's even an address showing them exactly where the studio is. You can kind of replay that video back if you want to see more. But here's our proof. 9.67 conversion rate in the past 30 days. We can see 54 leads with a $27 cost per lead with, obviously don't have it on the screen, but our data showing that 1 out of every 4 of those leads are converting and booking their first session from these landing pages, which is excellent. So going back up real quick, if you are not getting a very high conversion rate, kind of rewind, check this out. Here are some bullet points of things that you can do. Localize it, make it simple, remove questions, only ask like one kind of medium level intent question. Put proof on the page, show them the exact outcome that they're going to get. Another thing that I didn't talk about too much, because we usually don't have these in franchise marketing, but if you're maybe a more local business or a business that has this, is a lead magnet. Use a lead magnet, bait them, give them something valuable in exchange for their information, and that'll really help get your conversion rate up as well. So how do you track these KPIs? That's the first step. You just need to begin tracking these. It's very, very easy. So you have a couple options here. You actually don't need to pay money to get any of this. You can literally do it right inside of your ad manager. So if you're a franchisee or franchisor watching this, you can just go straight into your Meta Ad Manager. You can actually customize the columns that you're looking at because it's already going to have like a default view. Click custom with that little pencil next to it, or down here at the bottom, you can click customize columns and search for these metrics. You want to look at the click-through rate, cost per click, CVR, which is the conversion rate, and then results. And results are going to be how many results you got, so leads. And then cost per result, which is going to give you that cost per lead. And then you'll have a view like this, which I'm just using that Pembroke Pines ad manager from before. The other thing you can do, which I like to use more often, because going into ad managers is difficult. Like I said, we have 100 plus clients, so it's a lot of ad managers to bounce between. That would be unsustainable. It wouldn't work. Are reporting tools. So a couple tools that we use, our software is called Agency Analytics that we white label. The other one we use is just Looker Studio, which is built right into Google. You have to get an API tool to push all the metrics from your ad accounts into Looker Studio, and then we can build fully custom reports. So I'll zoom in and kind of show you what this looks like. So for our franchisors, the corporate levels or corporate teams that we work with of our franchise brands, they actually will receive a roll-up report like this where they can look at a certain time frame, look at all their franchisees inside of that time frame, see their 4 KPIs, because they know once you have these 4 KPIs, it tells the whole story. Rank them based on each KPI, see who's struggling. It also helps us a lot because then we get a benchmark of exactly how everybody's doing and kind of what our averages are. And it's really, really easy for us to see a franchisee that is struggling or about to start struggling and then do that preventative maintenance. And then in addition to that roll-up report, something, if you are a franchisee or you're just a single or multi-unit operator, or you just have one business, this applies to anyone. You don't have to be in a franchise. You can get on a dashboard platform like Agency Analytics and dive into your metrics a lot more. So look at just your studio or just your business and the metrics inside of that. You can see we provide all of our franchisees with dashboards like this. They have full 24/7 access to it. The franchisor has these as well. So they actually have that roll-up report, and then they can click into any of their franchisees and get a full view of exactly what's going on inside of their ad account. This isn't just for their Meta advertisements. We do this for their Meta ads, Google ads, if they're running LinkedIn ads. Some of our locations run TikTok ads, and they have a dashboard with all the important information that they need, including the 4 KPIs, but it goes into a lot more depth past those 4 KPIs that they can access literally at any time. And then we go through these reports with our franchisees in our calls with our client success team. So if you have any questions at all about all the information that I gave you today, put it in the comments below. Click the link, email us, anything like that. I am more than happy to help you out. That being said, I am willing, ready, and happy to give you kind of a metrics makeover. So put your cost per lead in the comments below. Let me know, even if it's atrocious or maybe it's really good. Sometimes it can be way too low and you're just getting really bad quality leads or getting bot leads, and we can talk about how to fix that. We will audit your 4 KPIs for you and give you a 1-page document telling you exactly what you need to do to improve your click-through rate, cost per click, or conversion rate to get you that healthier cost per lead or to get you those quality leads so that you can deploy that strategy immediately. You just got to send us those 4 KPIs. Maybe we'll take a look at your creatives and we'll give you this exact audit, what to do, let you know what good looks like so you can kind of benchmark it against your current metrics. And then if you'd like, we can jump on a discovery call. And if not, no hard feelings. I'm here to give out as much valuable information as possible. Just click the link below, pick a time, upload those screenshots, and I look forward to it. Thank you very much. My name is Tristan McGowan with Fifth Element Media, and I will see you in the next video.